So this is the Ocean Dreams motif, and we will start by painting the water. I've mixed up some paints here, putting a lot of water in. This is my woodland set. You can make the kind of turquoisey watercolor in tropicals by mixing the palm and hurricane, or palm and island, which is a blue and a green. And you can do the same thing, mixing a blue and a green to make this nice turquoise. Test it out on your tester here and see what you like for your ocean color. It's totally up to you. It's your dream. I painted this original in the DR with my little travel sketchbook. Love the tropical look of the white sand and the blue ocean. I'm just painting lines here, leaving some white of the paper. I can move some of this pigment around after I get that down. We've got space here for the mat or a frame. You can go all the way to the edge if you want, but it is meant to have a little space for that at the edge, kind of going around this greenery here because it is in the foreground. So that's kind of the basics for now. We can take a clear brush and kind of move some of that pigment around. But we can leave the white there as though it's the water rippling, and you can always add a little bit more afterward. It is sketchy, that's why there's lines in here. I actually had originally a boat that was sitting out there in here, but for the sake of everyone enjoying this, I took that out, and we're going to need quite a bit of green. I'm using this deep moss and a bit of this daylight here to kind of get like a nice tropical poppy green. You could use palm in your tropicals kit, or mix a green you have if it's really dark with a little yellow. Add some blue if you need to. You just have to try out your set at home and see what you think works. I usually like to use a darker, like more hunter green with brown in it, but for this, since it is so tropical, we'll leave it more of a bright tone. So I'm giving the impression of leaves here. Going to now kind of move my brush in groups, painting this so that if I were to run out of this exact green over here, it will make it easier for me to mix up another color, and it won't have to match exactly, so that my painting does not look off balance. So you can see I'll come over here and do another grouping of leaves in a couple different places. So I am filling in some of these spaces, but at the same time, I'm going over some of the ones I've already done. I'm just depositing a little bit more paint over top of that. It will give it a layered look. It fills in the gap, the white of the paper, and adds a little bit of texture and interest. So you can see I'm kind of just popping that color in quickly here. those. So now we are officially done. I'm going to pick up this brush. It has a fatter brush to it so I can get the water down more quickly. I'm going to move to the sky here, and I've got the clouds as they were on that particular day. I'm going to go around and just put a thin layer of water. It's easier to do with the fatter brush. You can still use the little brush, no worries. Just be careful if you've got your cup of water, if that's the kind of brush you're using, that you just don't go too overboard with the water so that your paint doesn't buckle too badly. Any little buckles will just go away if you're popping it into a frame. So just kind of coming around here, and I'm going this direction because that's the horizon line. You really don't want to do your sky up and down ever. You have to watch what way the stroke of your lines might be appearing. And now I'm going to come in here and just lay a little bit of this pigment. You can do this ahead of time. A lot of times I do this first, so we'll see how this turns out. And I'm just kind of grabbing the bottom of those clouds. They're a little heavier with the moisture. They were kind of wispy. You can add more clouds to your painting if you would like, and even make them less descript. If you just want to leave them the white of the paper, that's fine too. So we've got that going here up to the top. And now I'll turn this around and get some of the sand. Now this is that beautiful white sand, so I really don't want this to be very pronounced. I'm going to just barely come across here, almost like it's a shadow. And I'm not going to fill all of that in because I really don't want it to look like it's yellow. Now, of course, I didn't wait very long for those leaves to dry, so you want to be careful, or just step away from your painting for a little bit so you can let that dry properly and don't end up with a big mess on your hands. Because this is sketchy, and really in real life it was sand, then these plants, then the water, you don't really have to fill this in so realistically. It's just the impression of a foreground. See, I got that a little heavier on that side, so I'll just do that over here. And I think I'm going to leave that be and not fill in the middle of that because it really was green in real life. So